What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockeytown University. You are here with us, your hosts, once again, Matt, Derek, and Zach. The boys are back in town. Hockeytown University, yes. Boys, we're together once again. How are we doing?
I'm tired, Zach. That's all I can tell you.
Me too.
It on your screen, too. Yeah, me too. It is Sunday after all, and it's darker than... What's dark?
It's really dark.
What else is dark? What can I compare it to?
My soul.
All right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, that took a weird turn there. Let's move on. All right, boys. Well, glad to hear that you guys are doing well. Yes, we are back. Thank you for returning. If you guys are returning, if you guys are new, welcome. We definitely do appreciate it. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button. Really does go a long way for us and turns the frowns upside down and makes that octopus really happy on Derek's microphone.
There he is.
Sweet.
Those pearly whites.
All right. So what do we got today? We got around the league news. We got some Red Wings news, and then obviously our main topics as we have them posted in the title of this episode. So why don't we go ahead and jump right into things, shall we? So let's talk about the cap that is projected to go up to $87.7 million next season per the Board of Governors meeting in the NHL. Sweet. That's going up. It's pretty much going up $4 million. That was as expected as it was on Cap Friendly. So you guys really surprised by this? I'm not.
It only took like 4 years, so thank God it happened finally.
Finally. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I'm not super surprised by this, but it's nice that it's going up because a certain athlete named Shohei Ohtani just signed for literally a yearly salary of like what is almost the NHL salary cap. So that was pretty insane. We don't really need to go in depth about that. He went to the Dodgers because, of course, he fucking did. Everyone goes to the Dodgers and makes a ton of money and does nothing from then on. So yeah, that's cool. We'll have some more people getting paid, and it's actually pretty timely for this offseason when we got some key players that'll be due for a pay raise. So yeah. It's really exciting, and hey, it's only going to go up from here. More money is only a good thing. I'll tell you that much.
More money, less problems, as they say in the world. Nino Niederreiter signs 3 by $4 million extension. Speaking of $4 million increase, that's where the Winnipeg Jets are deciding to utilize their money for themselves. Cool. Good for them. PK guy puts up not minimal points, but good middle six forward, right? In my opinion. So can probably play on the power play as well. I really don't know too much about Nino Niederreiter, but I figured this is probably a good deal for them. I like them enough to keep them for another 3 years, right?
I mean, not on our team, so good for them. Good looks, I guess.
Yeah, I've always liked Nino. I've always kind of wanted him to be a Red Wing. I think he's like kind of that perfect middle six player, like you said, Zach. He's a good penalty killer. To me, he kind of reminds me of just like what Thomas Tatar is now. He's a guy that like will not really impress you throughout the season, but he will score some pretty clutch goals, and I mean he's a good playoff performer too. So I'd say it's a pretty good deal there, and yeah, it shouldn't take up too much cap. So I think if you have that deal, you do that 10 times out of 10.
Maybe that's something we could do with Michael Rasmussen. Michael Rasmussen could be that type of player too, but it does not look like it's going to be this season. But he is cooking. We got to let him keep cooking. Maybe we'll talk about him later down the road. But what's up next is that we have the Coyotes have defeated the last 5 Cup champs in the last 5 games. When I put that in, that's probably 3 games removed now, but are they actually getting good now? And there was a rumor from their Twitter profile that they could be getting a new arena. Is it still going to be on the moon, Leslie? Yes or no?
Are you kidding me? Of course it is.
Dude, Elon Musk is building it for him. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm fine with that. I just hope they get like a dome because I don't think an open-air stadium is going to do too well on the moon. But, maybe they could try it, see what happens. Maybe they can host a Winter Classic up there. Yeah, it's definitely cold enough. I'll give you that.
Silly, but real question for you guys, and I want a real answer. Would you rather play in an open arena on the moon or an open arena in Arizona ice skating?
I think it would probably be easier to play on the moon, to be honest. That'd be way easier.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Well, if you're playing in Arizona Open Arena, the ice is melting, right? So how are you going to play hockey on skates at that point?
But
So I
I'm
guess
gonna
the moon.
breathe. You got to remember this aspect of breathing.
Well, okay, you're wearing like an astronaut suit, so you at least got that.
I mean, I'd love to like skate and jump real quick. Let me tell you, be floating through the air. It'd be kind of funny.
That'd be cool.
We have some massive hits up there.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of unclaimed real estate up on the moon. You can make that thing like twice the size of the moon. You could just, it would be bigger than Swedish Hockey League ice. That'd be great.
So, okay, going back to the first question, are they actually good now, the Arizona Coyotes?
I really don't think
yeah.
they actually were bad. Weirdly enough, obviously we had very low expectations for them to start the season off. Obviously, since we didn't even know if they're going to be a team in a couple of years, but they're not doing bad. It's kind of weird to see.
Yeah, they're fourth in the Central right now. They got 28 points, 13 wins, 11 losses, 2 OT losses. They're 4 points behind the Winnipeg Jets. And yeah, they're actually doing pretty damn good. They're ahead of Nashville, St. Louis, the Wild. No surprise, the Chicago Blackhawks. No offense to you Blackhawks fans if you guys are listening. But yeah, they're currently sitting in a wild card position. They're in the first wild card spot. So is this finally going to be the year where they make a playoff push?
I mean, I sure hope not.
I kind of think that it's going to happen based on looking what, Nashville doesn't really seem like that they're picking up. And then St. Louis kind of doing the same thing. The Oilers, they're slowly starting to pick it back up. Maybe they can make it into a top 3 spot in their own division in the Pacific. There we go.
In the specific division.
Yeah, the specific division where they suck. Yeah. No. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
I would like to remind everyone that with our preseason predictions, I did say that the Coyotes were going to make the playoffs. And that's looking pretty good right now. I mean, they did just lose to Boston yesterday. So, they still have a tough road ahead. But, yeah, I mean, they're definitely looking a lot better. I mean, and you just look at that Central Division, you've got 2 teams at the bottom, St. Louis and Chicago, that are actively rebuilding. I don't know what's going on with Minnesota. They just kind of stink this year, I guess. Nashville, they kind of suck too. I mean, it's actually pretty wide open in the West. So, yeah, I don't see why they couldn't make a run. They're the only team that is really looks like they are half competent in the Central. So, I think they could do it. I really do.
I would agree with you there, Matt, that out of those teams that you mentioned, I mean, and that I mentioned as well, the Nashville Predators, a St. Louis, and Calgary, if you're comparing them to an Arizona Coyotes, Arizona is probably the only one who actually improved. I mean, Nashville did add a Ryan O'Reilly, but they really didn't have that much center depth to begin with. So that I really do think that if this is a year for Arizona, they have the chance. So good for them. That's about it, though. They still suck. Go to the moon. All right.
I'm waiting for it.
News. This one recently just popped up. As we are recording, it is 7:05 p.m. on Sunday, October. What's the date today? The 10th? October 10th. December 10th? December 10th.
October. Jeez, man, you're living in the past.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, man. All right. So as of today, on Coach's Now Whatever or something, it was like the pregame for the Grand Rapids Giffords game. Berggren and a couple other players, I believe it's Zarnik and someone else, if someone can tell me who else that other player is.
Austin Reed.
Okay, awesome. So they were all scratched for tonight's game for the possibility of a call-up to the Detroit Red Wings. Then you have David Pagnotta coming out, who is saying that the Red Wings have been in trade talks lately, and Jonathan Berggren could be involved in said trade rumors. Let's kind of keep it short and sweet. Let's not try to go down a deep rabbit hole. Are you guys buying that rumor, yes or no?
I mean, it depends on what we're looking for, because obviously we have some shortcomings in our team still that are obviously we're going to talk about here shortly that are bugging us a lot. So, I mean, I definitely see a possibility here, depending, like I just said, depending on what we're looking for, which obviously would be a defense or a goalie at this point.
I would agree with that, and I'm sure Matt would probably agree with that. I would love to hear from you next, Matt.
Yeah, sorry, I was just refreshing to see if there was any news on that, and so
Yeah,
far, no, there was not.
of
In
course.
short, no, I honestly don't really buy that much into it, just considering the fact that Detroit and really mainly Steve Yzerman, this is a type of organization that you don't really hear about something happening until he actually does it. You know, he runs a very tight ship, and not a whole lot leaks out, to be honest. So I don't know if this is speculation, just given the fact that he has been scratched, and I mean, usually that means a call up. I don't really know. Maybe there's some rumors going around Jonathan Berggren's or Jonathan Berggren, excuse me, Jonathan Berggren's camp that maybe he is getting traded. It's really hard to say exactly what that's gonna be because you know if a trade starts with Jonathan Berggren, like that's not a nothing chip we have there. Like he's a really good young player who's got some NHL experience and, you know, of course is lighting it up in the AHL too. And I mean, one could argue he should be on the Red Wings. He's actually got some games on the Red Wings this year and has looked pretty good. So I would have to imagine it's going to be a pretty sizable trade. So yeah, I guess now here's the speculation season. It's officially started with not only what's his name, Pagnotta, David Pagnotta, in this
Yeah.
podcast. We're all collaborating to you know, get a scoop going here. So yeah, do we want to just do some wild speculation here to see what this trade might be looking like? Because there are some pieces that the Red Wings are severely lacking, as we've seen from the past 2 or 3 games.
For me, I would. So I saw that they were being called up first before I saw David Pagnotta coming out there and releasing his statement that Yzerman and Red Wings have been in trade rumors, and it just so happens that within that same hour of David saying that, he notices that Jonathan Berggren is scratched along with a couple other players. How come the Red Wings haven't announced yet that they have recalled those players? Is it the Red Wings the Red Wings play tomorrow away? So how come they haven't recalled them? And then if that was the case, to sit him and scratch him in tonight's game for the Grand Rapids Griffins, they would have recalled him so that way he can get on a flight to go to that game. Because the game last night against the Sens, they were without Costin. We will go into depth about the game, but what happened to Larkin, and then what's about to happen to Perron. We don't know how long Perron and Costin are out, neither do we know about Larkin. So this is where I think that the rumor could be true, because the Red Wings would have already came out and said we have recalled Jonathan Berggren to the Detroit Red Wings. The other reason why, yeah, sorry, Derek. One more thing. The other reason,
buddy, I interrupted you.
yeah, no, you're good. The other reason why I think it could be true is because I think that the Red Wings are just so full of wingers that we don't really have the center depth outside of Larkin, Comfort, and Veleno. And if Larkin is, for God forbid, out long term and he has to be on LTIR for a bit of time, Comfort is your 1C and then Veleno is your 2C, and you have Kopp as your 3C and Rasmussen your 4C. Is that really going to push you into the playoffs? I don't think so. But this isn't me sitting here saying that you're going to trade for a center. I do think that that would be an option, but I would say it's going to be for a defenseman or it's going to be for a goalie. Our goalies, and we talked about this on an episode, we have a huge goalie situation, right? Where we have 3 goalies. For whatever reason, none of them can stop a beach ball right now. And so our defense is playing atrociously. You guys will talk about it too, because you guys went to the San Jose Sharks game, but I think that this rumor is true, and I do think it's either for a D-man or a goalie. I'm done. Go ahead, Derek.
I mean, honestly, I forgot what I was about to even rant about, so it's okay. That's a good way to end that topic.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely hear where you're coming from with that. Yeah, it would absolutely suck the life out of this team if Larkin went on LTIR. I really don't want to see that. I think we should at least say now. I mean, it's been out for a while now, but his test did come back that he was clear. So that doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to sit out for a while. That very much is still in the cards, but at least he's long term gonna be fine. That's what it sounds
Yeah.
like to me. So thank God, because
Yeah.
that was a very, very scary collision there. That was honestly one of the worst things that I've seen in a hockey game. It really
Yeah.
sucks that happened to him. I'm sure we'll get into that much more in depth later, but yeah, we'll save that for down the road. But yeah, as far as Berggren being called up, I really hope it's to make an impact if he's going to get traded, because I really like him. I mean, you guys know that I'm a huge fan of him. You guys know that I've wanted him on the team since day one. I think he would make a lot more of an impact than really honestly anyone in our bottom six, maybe with the exception of like Sprong and I don't know. Yeah, pretty much just Sprong, to be honest. Rasmussen's been a little bit better too. He actually played pretty well in that San Jose game. Pretty much the only one playing well. But yeah, I would be lying if I said this team does not need help at mostly defense. I mean, yeah, Lyon was pretty bad last night. I actually think for the majority of that game, the Red Wings outplayed the Senators. We just couldn't buy a save. But then we can go back to the San Jose game against a team like, listen, we hate the Senators here. It's no secret. San Jose is a much worse team than Ottawa. Like it's just they're whatever, the second or third worst team in the entire league. That entire game, we were giving up odd man rushes. Every single goal that was on Husso, except for maybe one or two, he was hung out to dry. The defense absolutely failed him. There would be some mental breakdown, whatever it is, a pass would be off, and no one gets back on defense. That's what leads to all those shorthanded goals, all those cross crease goals. The defense was just plain and simple terrible on Thursday night. They played terrible. It wasn't one player or the other. It was everybody. Everybody was bad. So we really need some help at that group in specific.
Yeah, and kind of going back, and this isn't really. I want Jonathan Berggren on the team too. I really thought that he was going to make the team opening night and kind of stick with us, but there were other plans, right? And we even went out and got a Patrick Kane, and that even puts me in a spot to believe that Berggren might be in trade conversations, because I really don't think that there is room for him on this roster currently, even if you had a Larkin and Perron out. And Perron, and we'll talk about it later, I guess. I mean, if he does get the 5 games, then it's only for 5 games, right? I mean, so we don't need more offense. We need it's clear it's defensive, right? And so it's that or goaltending. Goaltending can't save a beach ball. Defense can't block,
Stop an
defend, do
odd-man
their
rush
job.
to save your life.
Yeah, just all of the above. And so before we go down this rabbit hole, let's just go ahead and move on, because we will double dip into this, I believe, honestly. So let's just go ahead and move on. This one's a little more warmer. Jake Walman will have a bobblehead night that will be replicating him doing the gritty, which is really freaking cool. So that's everything Red Wings fans have ever needed and wanted in their lives. So
Everything that hockey fans need.
As soon as I saw that tweet come out, I went straight to go see how much tickets were for that game, because I thought that was the coolest thing ever. What do you guys think about it, though, real quick? You guys think it's cool, or
I'm sitting over here realizing I'm going to have to buy one because I'm not going to the game. So whoever is going to the game against someone and puts it up for auction, I might be the one buying it. So thank you.
People do that. They will go to a game and they'll immediately put it up on eBay. So stay on the lookout for that. They will do that.
Mean, if anyone's looking for a cool New Jersey, someone got one last game at the San Jose. It was a pretty depressing game, but I got a free jersey out of it. So look online, y'all.
Look on.
Yeah, I don't know. I might go to that game. I honestly forget when it is, but if I don't go, I would like to ask anyone who's about to put it up on eBay, please just don't sell it for $100, because you guys seem to drive up the price of those kinds of things, and I'm not in the market for $100 bobblehead, so please keep it cost effective for me. Thank you.
I bet you it would probably be like $50 or $60, but I guess cost effective, probably not. You could probably just go to the game.
Even that's too high.
Just that pays for your ticket, so you might as well go to the game, get the bobblehead, sell it online, get your money back, get to go to a free game. So might be able to get two somehow, some way. All right, boys. Next up, Alexander Doucet makes his AHL debut today. Good for him. He was actually killing it with the Toledo Walleye. I don't have him pulled up, but I can pull him up actually here in a quick second. But do you guys think that this is a great thing for Alexander Doucet, considering how well that he played last season and then getting signed by the Detroit Red Wings because of his stellar play?
Good thing to see. That means we have production coming up from all levels right now. I mean, obviously, I don't know what's happening with that trade rumor here with Berggren and everything like that. No idea. As Matt told you guys, we have not seen anything brand new yet. But it's really nice to see that all levels of the Red Wings organization are doing pretty well enough that we can bring people up like this.
Yeah, it is a good thing to see because, the Grand Rapids Griffins, they're still not doing too hot. I think last time I checked, they're like 8-11-3, which is pretty similar to where they were last year. So, that's a little alarming. I really don't like that. They had a whole coaching change and everything, and maybe they're just having their first year struggles. I really don't know what to attribute to it, but yeah, they definitely need some more life breathed into that team. So, I hope he has a very successful AHL career. I don't really know yet if we're going to see him in Detroit one day. I hope we do, but if he's a career AHLer and he does well there, then by all means, all the power to him.
Yeah, in his professional, his first professional season, you can say with the Toledo Walleye, in his first 12 games, he's got 5 goals, 8 assists for 13 points. The Toledo Walleye have been scoring a lot. They've been having an all right season. Goaltending kind of has been an issue for them from what I've noticed looking at the numbers. So it is good to see that he is getting that call up. I think that is well deserved. But it is good to see, like Derek said, we're seeing everywhere from the system up and down. Players are thriving everywhere, right? So that's great. And like you said, Matt, yeah, it could be, the Grand Rapids Griffins calling them up because they are struggling as well, but also this recent, call up situation with Berggren. So who really knows? That could be another reason why they just called him up. But yeah, Dan Watson, brand new system, brand new coach. So that could be why the Grand Rapids Griffins are struggling a little bit. They are a younger team too, and so they have a brand new captain too, and they're just working through the struggles right now, just like every other team. The Red Wings did it with Lalone last year, and so I think that they have an ability to turn it around. We'll just have to wait and see. Simon Edvinsson's been killing it for him, and we'll talk about him here. And clearly, as you guys know, that'll probably be up there. So, all right, well, yeah, this kind of just goes back. So I had here that the Wings called up Berggren, Zarnik, Zach Aston Reese. Actually, someone else put that in here. We'll circle back around to the Larkin injury, which was no bueno. What could this mean if he is out long term? Apparently, everything came back negative, so thank Christ for that. If he is out long term, real quick, guys, what would this mean for the team?
To mean that everyone who is not named Dylan Larkin needs to get their shit together and step up to the plate, because that would be very tough. And I would like to see if that actually does become the situation. God forbid it does become the situation. They need to have a better response than they had in the Ottawa game, because it did not seem like anyone on that team had any renewed sort of fight or spirit about them besides Perron, who fortunately went after the wrong guy. I mean, I applaud the effort, but yeah, that was the wrong guy. Maybe
Yeah, we'll
maybe you
talk
should
about
think
that
before you
too.
cross check someone in the head. Yeah, no, I'm getting ahead of myself, but yeah, that means everyone's going to need to step up. That all the guys are underperforming right now. It's got to end here. Like, this team would absolutely need everyone to come together and play for one singular goal. If that goal isn't making the playoffs, it's making your captain proud.
And we can also see the fact that if he is out long term, we have 3 guys that are potentially ready to get pulled up. The trade rumors could be completely
Right.
off kilter, and we could be completely wrong on that spectrum. And these guys are literally there just to take the place of the guys that we don't have there for minimum of 5 games. So we'll see what happens with that too. I'm hoping, God forbid, that Larkin's back in the next game, good to go. Obviously, I'm going to say probably 1 game off just because the man starfished on the ice. So I'm not going to expect him back right away, but we can see some changes happening here. So we'll see what has to come, what the organization is going to do here, because there's a lot of moves they're going to make, and we don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and Dylan Larkin with the 24 games played so far, he already missed 2 this season, but within the 24 games, he is over a point per game with 25, 11 goals, 14 assists. So that's a huge blow to the Red Wings if he is out long term, like very long term, like we're talking like 2 months. That's a huge blow to the Red Wings. I don't know how they can stay in a playoff spot, much like how they are now, being fourth in the Atlantic and sitting at the first wildcard spot with 3 games on hand over the Tampa Bay Lightning and 1 point above them with 30. We have 32 and they have 31. So that it would be a huge blow to the Red Wings. Thank God everything came back negative, and that's Derek. It could be something as maybe he's just out for a game or 2. Just give him a little rest. Just let him sleep it off. But we'll go more in depth about it when we actually reach talking about the game. But let's talk about David Perron, and it's going to be hard not to talk about the innards of the game, but let's try not to. Perron was offered an in-person hearing by the NHL player safety for his hit to the head on Zub, which means he could be suspended up to 5 games, but it's not a guarantee. And rightfully so, personally, from me, and you guys can disagree with me on this, Sens fans are calling for Perron's head. They really want him to get the 5+ games. I'm not condoling what Perron did, right? I don't think what Perron did was right. He definitely saw red, and he went to go protect his captain and be there for his teammates. However, he did it the wrong way by cross-checking Zub right directly into the face and head area, right? And so that was intent to injure personally, and so I will not defend Perron. However, scrums like this happen all the time, and so I don't know. It's just really tough. I see where Perron was coming from, but I can't defend it. What do you guys think about it? I think Perron's going to get suspended, and I think it's going to be 5 games. I don't know if Perron's been suspended before, to be honest. If you guys know, then it's only going to make it that much longer. So it's probably going to be damn near the 5 games.
I believe at this point, Perron has done nothing in his career that has actually got him in trouble for anything. So I would say that's going to go better in his defense at that point. But at the same time, like, they'll know why he did it, the commission, but at the same, you don't get away with a cross check to the head anymore like that. Like, I get what he was coming from, but makes it worse that it was the wrong player even. So he just cross checked some random bystander in the game.
Yeah.
So most likely it will be a 5-game suspension just because, like you said, Zach, he saw red. He didn't really care who he was really going to hit at that point. He was just going after the first person he could get a hold of.
No, and that's the type of energy that we want and need on the Red Wings team when we're going up against teams that do this kind of stuff to our teammates, right? Not saying that what happened to Larkin was on purpose, partially, but we'll talk about it. I know I'm going down a rabbit hole, but go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with all of you guys on the 5-game suspension. I think we all know pretty plain and simple what's going to happen here. The Dops is just going to spin the wheel, and then whatever it lands on, that's what he's getting. Could be 2 games, could be half the season. We really don't even know it because they just they play by their own rules over there. But I'm definitely not condoning what Perron did. I understand he had to retaliate in some way and stick up for his captain, and to be quite frank, get the Red Wings back in the game because, right from that point on, Ottawa just ran up the score, which if there's one team I hate losing to in the NHL, it's definitely Ottawa. I mean, their fans are just the most pathetic people I've ever seen in my entire life. They put all of their time and energy and devote their lives to a team that has literally done nothing successful ever in its existence. And to be quite frank, hasn't even sniffed an ounce of success that the Red Wings have. So, yeah, it's pretty insane to be that crazy about a team that pretty much lets you down all the time. But I guess I do actually speak as a Lions fan when saying that. So, I guess I kind of get it. We're not as crazy as you, but we understand how it is. It's just unfortunate the way it had to happen. I think the 5 games is more than justified. And, there's a lot of people online saying that this hit by Matthew Joseph was not intentional whatsoever. He just meant to cross-check him and hit him in the head. You don't accidentally hit someone in the head. It just doesn't really happen. It's not like he leaned over and his head was presented and he hits him in the head. No, that was pretty damn intentional. I think the only thing that wasn't intentional was him knocking his chin into I don't even remember who the player was. I think it was Kelly or something. I don't know. It was some fourth line grinder who probably wouldn't even make the ECHL Toledo Walleye, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that was the part that kind of knocked him out. His chin went right into a stick, and anybody who's ever watched boxing or UFC knows that you don't need to hit someone with the strongest punch. It has to be just the most well-placed punch right on the person's chin, and they'll get knocked out. So thank God Larkin's going to be okay. Thank God. I think justice will be served here. I really want to see Matthew Joseph suspended at least 2 or 3 games. I need to see justice served to him too, because that was ridiculous, and that's not the first time that he's done that to Larkin. I remember, I think it was 2 years back ago when he was on the Lightning. He did something very similar, and then Larkin just went and threw a haymaker right at his face. So, that was pretty funny. But yeah, he's a repeat offender. I think he should get a pretty big ban too, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We're at the mercy of player safety, so only time will tell.
Time will tell. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, let's go ahead and discuss our main topic. So this one's pretty quick. This one really isn't a main topic, but I at least wanted to put it in there that as of today, after the game last night, Money Puck has the Red Wings at a 53.6% chance to make the playoffs. How are we feeling now that the first period of the season is over? Meaning, yes, we've played a total of 26 games, so about a quarter of the way, or a third of the way through. So we'll call it the first period of the season. How are we feeling so far? So positives, negatives, and team coaching staff all around. I can start. I guess I'm feeling great. I think, adding a Patrick Kane at the end of the first period of the season is a great addition. Thus, then brings me back to the Berggren thing, where I think it does mean that Berggren could get traded. So a lot of excitement, honestly. It has been a bit of a roller coaster here where we started out hot, right? Then we went cold. Everyone got nervous. Then we started getting hot again. Now we're kind of on this 2-game weird losing skid. But the last 4 games, we've let in 3+ goals. We're all kind of getting nervous again, and we don't know what our goaltending situation is like. And so coaching has been all right, but I still have a lot of questions in terms of our special teams, our hit and miss, and then even strength doesn't seem to always click right away. Our defense is just really bad too, and our goaltending still is just very much in the air, even with Line being 4-2 in his 6 games starting. Reimer hasn't played in what seems over a month now. Can't even remember the last time he started. Yeah, and Husso just keeps on laying an egg, and he just had a baby. I'm sure he's not sleeping every night. And so if I had to rate it out of a 10, I'd say I'd give the first period of the season about a 6.9. It's under a 7. Yeah. So who's next?
Matt, go right ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so I think just based on this little first stretch here, I think it's been okay. I mean, obviously the team is a lot more talented this year than they were last year. We're actually not too far off where we were last year, but as it stands after the loss to Ottawa, we are still in a wild card spot, which it kind of sucks. Before that game, we were actually in a divisional spot. We actually were as high as number 2 in the division. I think that was on Monday or Tuesday this week. But it's a long season. This happens to every team in the NHL. There's ups and downs. I guess it happens to everyone besides Boston, but that's fine because Boston are frauds. Shout out to you, AP. I know you would like that if you were on the podcast right now. But yeah, I think it's been pretty good. I think the one thing that I've really been impressed with is the offense at 5-on-5. Last year, this was one of the worst 5-on-5 offenses in the entire league. Then you bring in a guy like Kane, you bring in DeBrincat, you bring in Sprong, who gives you some good depth scoring. We have scoring all over the lineup now. I mean, when Derek and I were watching that game, you remember, Derek, most of the goals scored in the second period. That was the fourth and the third line, too. Like, Rasmussen got 2 goals in that game. He's barely been scoring this year. He had a good game. So, it feels like pretty much everyone can chip in offense now and again, and it doesn't need to be the big guns up front and Larkin, DeBrincat, and Raymond. So I think the offense has been pretty good. The defense, definitely questionable, definitely suspect. There's definitely some bright spots. I mean, Jake Walman, Mo Sider, Goss Despair. It's no surprise those guys are some of the best that we have. Sherratt's actually been a big bright side, which I never thought I'd say that in my career on this podcast, but here you go. You can check outside your window. You'll probably see some pigs flying too. Never thought I'd utter those words. And then, we have Jeff Petrie. He's kind of just there. The only thing I really want to see on the defensive side is Edvinsson come up. We really need to get him in here. He's ready. He needs to be in. We need a spark on this team. He needs to come in. I think by far the low points this season have been the goaltending. It's just been really, really bad. And it's kind of it's a bad sign that we have 3 different goaltenders, and all 3 of them have not really shown that they're ready to be a number 1. Alex Lane has been really good. He laid an egg yesterday, but
Matt, let's call it what it is. I mean, they've all been mediocre, right? That's pretty much what it comes down to. Lions looked good in certain games, but they've all been mediocre.
They have. And that's not really a great thing to see when you have 3 goalies and not a single one of them has shown that they're head and shoulders above the other 2. That's a bad sign. We really, really need help with goaltending, whether it's a trade. I don't think it's going to be Kosa next year. Maybe not even him in 2 years, but we'll just have to play the winning game of him. And then, like you said, the power play. Like Zach said, I said it the day that Patrick Kane was signed. If he's signed and he goes on the power play, and that's where he spends most of his time, and the power play is still bad, I mean, time's run out for this power play coach. Like, Tangay has to go at that point. And it's still not looking great. 2 shorthanded goals on Thursday. That might be the first time it's ever happened in the NHL. Like, it's insane. I don't know how that happens. So, it's like a little Jekyll and Hyde of this power play. There's a stretch where they scored a power play goal in like 5 straight games. Then you give up 2 shorties. I don't know what's going on there. Something has to change. But yeah, I think overall, if we're giving it a rating out of 10, I think I go with like a 7.3, 7.2. I think it's been fine. I think if they keep up this pace, they can make the wild card, which I guess that's kind of the ultimate goal for this season. So, I think there's been a lot more positive than bad.
What about you, Derek?
I'll break it down nice and easy because obviously I think Leslie covered a lot of it, and I feel a lot of the same way. But we'll go with the offense right away because obviously we had some great additions this year with DeBrincat, Kane. I'd say our defense is sitting a solid B plus right now. Like we have a playoff contending offense. Very plain and simple. Defense and goaltending, that's like everyone said, is a whole nother story, which I'm hoping something happens here the next few weeks that actually might improve it. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just praying that we get something good because, from what me and Matt had to watch, it was pretty atrocious. And I was happy I was sitting at the other end during that time when they had to rush down and score some goals because, God, it would have been even worse seeing that coming at me because, yikes. Really bad defense on those breakaways, really bad goaltending. I can't blame it all on the goalie at those ones because when you're on an odd man rush like that, what can you really do besides stop the puck most of the time? But overall, I was sitting with the team. Yes, his actual job, yeah. We have a few goalies that don't want to do their real jobs, but we'll ignore that for now because what can we do? We have 3 goalies, and we're still sitting in the same dilemma that as we were last season, too, with our goalies. So thank God our offense has gone up because that's really the only thing that keeps us in the game right now because I think we're probably one of the highest scoring teams in the league. I think second almost. From what I saw last, but the goals against, oh, God. Something has to change there because we're producing on one end and getting defeated on the other. So overall right now, I'll give us a solid 65 out of 100 because I feel like there's just a giant black hole and we're not doing anything to go after the situation right now.
Yeah, they should call us Detroit because none of our sports teams play D.
That was actually
That was
pretty
pretty
good. That was
Just been bad.
yeah, Matt.
I mean,
All
the
right,
Pistons are 2-20. I don't even know why I brought them up. They're so irrelevant. They might as well not exist. It's bad.
All right. Let's move on to the next
Things are
topic. So, Derek. All right. So, what are you rating the first period for the Detroit Red Wings out of a 10?
Oh, 65 out of 100, buddy. Threw it out there already. Like I said, black
My
hole in the defense and goalie area.
All right. Cool. All right. Next one. Is it time to finally call up Simon Edvinsson? Matt pretty much already said, yeah. I'm going to say yes. I think Derek is probably going to say yes if he hadn't already. But yeah, including today, in his last 12 games, he's put up 13 points for the Grand Rapids Griffins, which is just absolutely insane. I never thought, I shouldn't say I never thought that would happen to Simon Edvinsson, that he'd be on a long point streak like this. It's definitely possible, but okay, fine. I never thought it would be possible. But yeah, call up, right? Because the Red Wings are 6-3-1 in their last 10 games. I think I wrote this down before the Sens game. Let me double check and make sure here. Yep, 6-3-1. Okay, cool. In the last 10 games, but they've allowed 3+ goals in all 4 games this month of December, and 3+ goals 14 times this season in the 26 games played. So we're calling up Simon Edvinsson. When? Because it should have happened probably like 2 weeks ago.
Hopefully
right?
tomorrow.
I mean, that should have happened after the goddamn Sweden trip. It should have happened during the Sweden trip at that point. God. But
yeah.
What can we do? We're not in charge of this. We just pray certain things happen and they don't
I guess what we
I just flip my
I guess
phone
what we
across
can
the room.
do as fans is just keep complaining about it until it finally happens. I mean, we did it with Lucas Raymond with Jeff Blashill when he was trying to make the team. So bully Derek Lalone a little bit to bully Steve Yzerman. Like, hey, Twitter's being really mean to me.
Yeah.
Will you finally call
Hey,
Simon?
Baldy, call him up. Hey, Gru, get him up here. Get your minions up here. Come on, man.
Oh, man.
Love you, Derek. Don't worry.
No, we do. We do love you. We take you for granted, I think. Yeah, no, he needs to be up. I mean, you can't tell me. I don't care if you're just another fan like us, if you're Steve Yzerman, if you're Derek Lalonde, if you're anyone on the team. You can't look me dead in the face and say that our bottom 4 could not be held with Edvinsson in it. I mean, if you have to sit 2 guys and you have to rotate Edvinsson in, do it. And listen, he's still young. Like, he's still going to be prone to making mistakes. But I'll tell you this much. I'd much rather see Simon Edvinsson make the same mistakes that Jeff Petrie or who else, Justin Hall, are making, knowing that he's going to learn from them. Because let's be honest, when they make mistakes, they don't learn from them. They just go out and do it again. So I'd much rather have him there and have him develop his game more in the NHL, because we did not draft this guy to sit down in the AHL and light it up there while we have Jeff Petrie is a shell of his former self. Justin Hall, whatever, you can say whatever you want about him. They're wasting roster spots at this point. He needs to come up. He needs to make some starts, and he needs to refresh the team. It's what we need.
Yeah, no, I'm completely there with you, Matt. And Derek, you can go next a little bit here after I say this. But yeah, talking about the bottom 4 or the bottom 2 pairings, whatever you want to call it, on defense, you're talking about Justin Hall in 23 games, 3 points, and he's a +6. We know that plus minus really doesn't tell all, but you know, he was good at the start of the season, right? He was actually, I'm pretty sure, leading or second leading the league in plus minus at one point. So a little bit of a drop off there. Ben Sherrod is a +10. He's actually on pace to have a breakout season in terms of point production, where he's got 9 right now in 26 games. I believe I said he was on pace for 28 points, boys, something like that. So pretty ridiculous to think about that. Then you have Jeff Petrie, where, Matt, if you want to reiterate this, I could just say it myself, but you guys said that he didn't even look like he could even skate on the ice. He was going so slow, and he's got 7 points in 19 games.
No.
And you have only Mata with 4 points in 21 games, and he's only a +1. Jeff Petrie's a +4. And so then obviously you got Moritz Seider, 17 points, and then you have Jake Walman with 12 points, and they're both, or Seider's a +3, and then Walman's a +9, where Jake Walman really, both of them actually looked pretty horrible, in my opinion, against the Sens. We'll go into that as well. I'll bring them up later. But yeah, this defense as a whole has looked bad, but naming out those bottom four, I mean, Ben Sherrod, I guess, is the one that I would keep. Shane Ghostberry. Who can forget about that beautiful man? He's got 19 points in 25 games, too. He's a -5. And he got promoted up to playing with Moritz Seider on the top line after Jake Walman's poor performance after the I believe it was against the Buffalo Sabres game. Or it was against the Sharks game, whichever one.
No, I can tell you it was San Jose, too. He was horrible.
Yeah.
It was definitely San Jose.
So, and that really does, it kind of just brings us back to the whole trade rumors with Jonathan Berggren, right? As to where this defense really needs a spark. And whether if that's via trade and you're bringing someone else in, or that's bringing up Simon Edvinsson, it needs to happen now. And it should have happened 2 weeks ago, or however long ago it was, like Derek said, for the Swedish games. And he needs to be in the top 4. If he's in the bottom 4, that's fine with me too. But I think he's a top 4 D man, and you can bump one of these players down easily. If you have to cap dump, or if you have to bury the cap, do whatever you got to do, because it's about damn time to call up Simon Edvinsson.
Yeah, that's one of like the biggest complaints I'm seeing about this team from just people all around the league. And, I normally don't really like to agree with outside takes because a lot of them about this team are pretty boneheaded, to be honest. But yeah, I really hate that we have these veterans on the team, which, like, I get it. They're here for like a veteran presence and they're here to help the young guys. That doesn't really help when there's no young guys on the team. Like, we've got Simon Edvinsson. He's ready. He's absolutely ready. Like, I get it. He was injured to start the season. He's shaking off the rust. He's ready to go. We got to get him in. I don't understand why he's not playing on this team. I really genuinely don't. If you have these amazing players you've drafted, what was he, like 6th overall? Whatever it is, these first-round draft picks that you figure are going to be a pretty important part of your team, you've got to get them in. You've got to get them to play, or else trade them for something else. I just hate the fact that we're so content with leaving people down in the AHL. And it's not just Edvinsson, it's Berggren too. I mean, I'll bring it back to Berggren. Like, we can't have these guys down in the AHL when we have people up here on the team that aren't doing enough to keep a job on the team. So we just need to call them up at this point. I'm done messing around with this.
I mean, I can't say too much else on this point either, since you guys covered it pretty well. Obviously, bring up Edvinsson at this point. We need it.
Sorry. All right. Well, yeah, we can go ahead and just kind of go into... Let's just go into the games, right? Let's talk about the Sabres, and we can talk a little bit about it, not too much, but a couple of things happened in there. The Wings were on a 6-game win streak, or they won 6 out of their last 7, and they were second in the division of the Atlantic, like Matt said, and that was on December 6th. So 4 days later, yeah, we dropped all the way down to 4th in the Atlantic. So that's pretty brutal, right? And so there goes Matt.
I was like, wait, I think we lost somebody.
Can you not see me still?
I can see you. You just haven't. You're blurry. You froze like 20 minutes ago.
You're all good now.
Oh.
I knew that if I left and rejoined, it would fix it.
Yeah, let me do this.
Well, I was in the middle of talking. You should have just said something. You should have stopped me.
I put it in the chat.
I was in go mode.
Man, come on now. You gotta read the chat, bro. I knew we would fix it too, because now you're good.
No, it's all good. All right, hold on 1 second here.
Well, Zach, you're moving now. You still look pretty rough, but
Oh, he's frozen for you too?
Oh yeah.
Man, shit.
It's probably my end, guys. But you guys look fine to me. You guys are good. I guess
Yeah, we look beautiful.
try to do the
Let's
best
keep
you
it
can.
going.
Yeah. So
I always look good.
all right, so let's go ahead and jump into the game notes about the Red Wings beating the Buffalo Sabres 5-3. With that game, the Red Wings have won 6 of their last 7 games. At that time, they were second in the Atlantic Division, much like Matt said, and that was as of 12-6. So 4 days later here we are, 4th in the division of the Atlantic in the first wild card spots. Larkin got 2 goals. Wings scored at least 1 power play goal in those 7 straight games. That's pretty good, even though we literally just kind of talked about how bad that the power play was. And it was bad actually before that. They went 0 for like 22 on the power play or something ridiculous. Might have been 0 for 40 actually, thinking about it. So someone wants to correct me. Go
Neither
ahead
of
and
those
leave it
sound
on.
good. One's better than the other, though.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. One's slightly a little bit better, but they both equally suck just as much. Raymond, 18 points in the last 19 games. That clearly has. Oh no. Yeah, that probably could have changed. So, all right, that was on the Buffalo Sabres game, and then Alex Lyon had 4 straight wins with Someone put a 95.9 save percentage here, but I think they meant .959 save percentage. So congratulations, whoever did that. Kick rocks, Reimer, who's what that person also put on here.
Pretty much. Yeah.
No, honestly, I thought that was a good win by the Wings. They needed to keep beating their divisional rivals. Don't let the Buffalo Sabres gain any traction that they need, not especially now that they have Tage Thompson back. They currently sit pretty in 28 games. They got 25 points. They're pretty well down there. They're under Pittsburgh Penguins, Montreal Canadiens, Carolina Hurricanes, New Jersey Devils, etc. So they're right down there with the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Ottawa Senators for being the, not to be mean, sewer rats of the Atlantic Division. Don't worry, we were there for plenty of years. We were sewer rats. So let's go ahead and move on to the game.
The only difference is we're clawing ourselves out of the sewer. You guys aren't.
They're trying their best, okay? Give them a little break.
No, I literally don't care. I will not say anything nice about them, especially after last night. I don't care.
All right, well, you can talk about this one. So let's talk about the Red Wings losing to the Sharks 6-5 in overtime because Matt and Derek were there. I'm just kidding. I didn't actually mean that when I texted that to you guys. I hope I didn't hurt you guys' feelings, but
I was crying actually before I left that stage. I had to sit there for an extra 10 minutes after the game ended just to realize what actually just happened. It was rough. It hurt me.
Really, honestly, the only positive that I can say is it was an entertaining game. Like, you got your money's worth. My tickets were only like $50, and I saw one hell of a game for $50. So I guess I'll take that. Win, loss, no matter how bad, the LCA is still a beautiful building. I love that place so much. And the Super Slice, that big Little Caesar Super Slice, that stuff is gourmet. That stuff is delicious. So that's what I'll say about that game. My pizza was good.
I mean, I got a free jersey out of it. Shout out to our fire, police, and EMS because I liked it. It was pretty nice, Wait, can you see it?
Definitely be worse.
There we go. I'm not a part of them, but I was with somebody who was, and they got me a jersey. So shout out to you, Bailey.
I'm not a part of them, but I will feel their valor.
Honestly, though, probably the best part of the game. Besides, we did watch history get made. 3 minutes and 1 second, 6 goals, guys. Wasn't ready for it. I really wish it didn't happen either, but it happened.
Same here.
So that was a pretty impressive last 6 minutes of that second period.
Let me go through this stuff, and then you guys can talk about the game. I know you guys were there. Hold on, give me a second here.
We're frustrated.
I've never seen people get so excited to talk about a loss before. It's so funny. Patrick Kane makes his
He's got a point.
Patrick Kane makes his debut playing with the Detroit Red Wings, who got to play 16 minutes playing on the second line with Joe Veleno and Alex DeBrincat, getting power play. I said that really weird time as well. Husso was in net. Shocker. Laid a frickin' egg, much like you guys said. He let in 2 shorthanded goals. Frickin' idiot. Scoreless first period. Sharks looked better overall. 14-7 shot difference. Would you guys agree with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Wings score 4 quick goals, 3 being in 49 seconds of each other. Then San Jose destroys us and scores 4 to tie it up, where 2 were shorthanded goals, like I just said. NHL record, 6 goals in 3 minutes and 1 second. Is that true? Who put that in there? I didn't put that in there. Is that true?
I don't know if it's true.
I can't
but it
lie. I
sounds
saw
true.
that on a post, and I was like, that seems about right. I was only calling that there had to be some NHL record broken that night because that was too many goals that quickly. And that's what I saw, and I'm like, that doesn't seem normal, but I mean, okay.
That's a goal every 30 seconds. So if that's a record, then I guess I would believe that. So I'll keep this in here. All right. So Larkin breaks the tie in the third, but was eventually tied again with under 90 seconds left in the game. Shocker, Husso. Congratulations. Wings lose 37 seconds into overtime on a bad pass back to Raymond. I believe it was by Jake Walman. I could be wrong. Who then loses it in his feet, and it was bounced off of his skate, which then becomes a 2-on-0 situation for Husso, who then gets scored on. Husso did not look well facing high danger shots, and this defense really could use a boost. Insert basically everything that we mentioned up until now. So we don't have to go back into it. But now you boys can go ahead and go into depth about the game because you guys got to watch it a little more up and close and personal than I did since I was away on work business. So the floor is yours, boys.
Well,
sorry.
I will make one correction. Apparently, it was the second fastest 6 goals in NHL history. Sorry, guys. I was wrong.
We almost made history then. Well, we technically did, but for the second worst performance ever, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I
But
mean,
no,
Matt,
go
is
ahead.
there any more you want to go into on this game? Because my heart still hurts, man, from watching it. Like, it was a rough watching those defense, watching the goaltending. Like, I mean, I'll give credit to Husso. That first game, like first period and a half, looked good. I almost was going to say I was going to have to eat my words. And then we saw those 2 PK goals. And then what was it? Maybe 10 seconds later, after the PK ended, they scored their third. I think all my hope went out the window at that point. I don't know. I was like, well, let's go shopping. I think we need someone new on the team. I don't know what it is.
Well, I mean, it's like I said before this episode that I said to Zach, like, whenever this team gets a big lead, Husso pretty much just says, oh, cool, I don't have to work anymore. And he just lets any single shot in that he sees. Like, he just cannot keep us in the game. And then, it was also true with the empty net situation at the end of the game. I mean, we had a little, we had the puck, and, like, we could not score in the empty net, which that would have iced it. And then it was kind of left up to Husso because, we couldn't escape our own zone once again. And then, of course, they score because we just, like, okay, here's what I'll say. Husso was bad. He definitely was bad. But our defense overall as a team was horrendous on Thursday. It was so bad. I mean, we can blame the power play for all of its trials and tribulations for those 2 shorthanded goals. To be quite frank, everyone on the defense, yes, including Seider, was just straight up bad. It was horrible. And even the offense, too, even though we scored, what did we score? 5 goals? The offense was bad, too. I mean, in the first period, like, we came out very sleepy. Like, there were passes that were just completely off the mark. We'd get into the opposing zone and we'd snap it around, get some scoring chances, and then someone would just pass it all the way back to the neutral zone for whatever reason. I don't know what was going on in that game. One positive I will take away is Klim Kostin got a goal. Michael Rasmussen got 2 goals. Our bottom 6 actually kind of showed out. Like, they got it done, which is really good to see because before that point, Michael Rasmussen was not looking so great this season. And then he gets 2 tip-in goals. That's, that'll do wonders for his confidence. So I was really happy to see him get rewarded for all of his efforts there. But yeah, all in all, really not a great game. I hate the fact that we lost the way we did to one of the worst teams in the league, which, to be quite honest, I looked up their stats. The San Jose Sharks have actually been playing lights out through like a little 5 or 6 game stretch. So they have not looked like the worst team in the league, but they're still one of the worst teams in the league. The facts are the facts. Numbers don't lie. So Yeah, overall, very disappointing game. I really thought we were just going to blow them out. It was 4-0. I leaned over to the Pistons fans next to me, and they were like, I was like, this is what a good team looks like. And then it was tied 4-4 in the second period, and I had to eat those words. So, yeah, that was not great. Not ideal at all.
So going and talking about the players now. So players who got to put up some points that game in a very high scoring game, 11 goals total. You got Robbie Fabry with 2 assists. You got Daniel Sprong with 1 assist. Andrew Kopp with 1 assist. Lucas Raymond with a goal and assist. Clem Costin with a goal. Michael Rasmussen with 2 goals. Dylan Larkin with a goal. Ben Sherratt, 2 assists. And Ville Husso, 30 saves on 36 shots. 833 save percentage. Amazing.
That's just
fantastic,
terrible.
Wonderful.
Well, it sounded great until you got to the goalie stats there, and I was like, oh, that's how you lose a game, huh?
It's pretty clear what the problem is. Like it's actually spelled out for you what the problem is with this team.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, in the NHL, you're not supposed to get 5 goals and lose a game nowadays. Like, that's just not how.
Absolutely
it's
not.
not how it works. Like, you usually win.
To a team at the beginning of the season that was getting blown out 10-1 every night. Like, come on.
All right.
What are we doing here?
All right. So let's go ahead, because there's not. Let's just go ahead and move on to the game that was most recent to us, which was last night, and it's gonna have the most talking points in it. Let's be honest, right? Like, we can sit there and talk blue in the face and say how bad Husso sucked, but this was a pretty intense game for all intents and purposes, right? The Red Wings lose to the Ottawa Senators Saturday night, 5-1. Sens open scoring by Claude Lemieux. Claude
Lemieux. Might as well have been.
Oh my God. Claude Giroux on the power play in the first 2 minutes of the game. Matthew Joseph. Then is when things got a little tricky. Were the Red Wings? I can't remember if the Red Wings were on the power play or not. So if someone wants to remind me, you can. But Matthew Joseph was right behind Larkin, and everyone that is in Red Wings fandom, and now everyone basically in the whole entire league, knows that Matthew Joseph and Dylan Larkin are not on the greatest of terms, especially of what Matthew Joseph did to Dylan Larkin last year, which was basically pushing him into the boards, first game into the season, coming back from that scary neck injury that Jamie Benn laid on him, right? And so here we are in a game with Matthew Joseph involved. Matthew Joseph basically pushes Dylan Larkin from behind in the head and neck area. It is very clear that it is in the head and neck area. Pushing him basically into another Ottawa Sens player, which his last name was Kelly. I don't know what his first name was, and I do apologize. I should know that. Who ultimately, what looked like to me, accidentally sucker punched Dylan Larkin into the face. Thus, like Derek said, making Dylan Larkin starfish on the ice, face down, unconscious. It looked very scary. Dylan Larkin had to be almost taken on a stretcher. A stretcher did get pulled out on the ice. Good looks. I will say this, good looks on those Ottawa Senators players that did try to reach out to medical staff to get them rushed out onto the ice. I do feel bad for what David Perron did to Zub. That was uncalled for. What I don't like about everything is that Matthew Joseph gets to stay in the game where the Wings went on a 4-3 power play. Perron getting a 5-minute match penalty for going after another player that was not involved with Larkin. So I was pretty upset that Matthew Joseph got to stay in the game. He meant to push Larkin with intent, not to injure him. But based on videos and then some photos that have surfaced out, Larkin looks like that he was pretty much already knocked out by the time Joseph was on him, pushing him from behind. I'm not sure if you guys saw the photos. And the way that Sens fans are reacting to it, some Sens fans are taking it a little too far, in my personal opinion. They're calling Larkin weak for taking basically a slap to the face and getting knocked out unconscious, and just like a whole bunch of other horrible stuff. And I find it disgusting. And they keep coming back how David Perron is a disgusting human being for what he did to their player, when no Detroit Red Wing player is siding for what David Perron did, other than he just went a little too hard. The action was there, but the execution was poor. And we will not stand up for what David Perron did, and we already mentioned that. But what Matthew Joseph did, I am shocked that he is not somewhat in a similar position with David Perron, where he is going to get suspended or at least fined. He should be ultimately, because what he did there, in my personal opinion, full intent to injure Dylan Larkin. I am saying that full-heartedly, and the people viewing this, can call me biased all you want. This is a Red Wings podcast, so that's how it's going to seem to outside viewers. But it was full intent, in my personal opinion, not to just get Dylan Larkin out of the way, but to injure him at the same time, personally, in my opinion, much like how David Perron basically did. And so that's what I'm going to stick with on that. Do you guys want to jump in real quick on that piece? Or do you want me to keep going along with what I have?
I mean, the one thing we just got to remember, too, if you're a Detroit fan or a Senators fan, it doesn't take much to get knocked out, especially if it's happened to you many times and you have repeat head injuries coming from somebody who's been knocked out multiple times in hockey already. After the first time, second, third, fourth, fifth, it happens real easily. Your brain gets jawed, and it doesn't even matter how hard you get hit. You can get love tap, basically, but if your brain goes a certain way, you can't do anything about it. You're going to go starfish on the ice, and you're going to sleep. And obviously what Perron did, not great, but like we said earlier, he saw red, he saw his captain go down, he saw the one player that was standing on top of his captain. He went after him. Not what he needed to do. He should have assessed the situation better, but hey, just got to say that we're thankful that Larkin's okay, and wish hopefully the situation gets resolved in the way that is best for the league, I would have to say at this point.
Yeah, pretty much all I have to say is thank God Larkin's okay. I've pretty much already said my piece on this game. Really, the only positive that came out of this game is Patrick Kane got his first as a Red Wing. Hopefully there's a lot more to come. I think there will be. But Jesus Christ, what a way to introduce Patrick Kane to this team. You lost the way you did to the San Jose Sharks on Thursday, and you just had your biggest current rival pump your eyes shut yesterday. So, not really a great way to introduce him to the team, but at least he's contributing. So, there's that.
Yeah, that was going to be next, is that right after all of that unfortunate situation that took basically what seemed like forever to get Larkin off the ice and get the game going back, Patrick Kane gets his first as a Detroit Red Wing with an assist by none other than Alex DeBrincat and Alex Lyon. Good for him, Alex Lyon. That's awesome. You know how they do the light the lamp before every game? Someone actually did pick Alex Lyon, and they clearly did not get it for his goaltending performance, but they did get some points because of his assists. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, that's pretty funny,
Good for
actually.
them. After that, my note here pretty much just says refs have been super poor the second period, continuing from the first period, and that was pretty much the story of this game. There were just a lot of really bad calls outside the Dylan Larkin incident. Tarasenko and Kubalik scored to make it 3-1. Joseph gets an assist on the Kubalik goal. Sweet, he probably shouldn't have, but that's just my personal take. Stützle goal late in the second to make it 4-1 with the Wings down to 9 forwards. It was pretty much 8.5 because at one point they were missing Robbie Fabry, who had to get a birdcage stuck on his helmet. So Seider and Walman looked awful during the second period, blowing assignments, missing passes, and missing hits, minus the Seider hit on Joseph, which was pretty freaking cool. Reimer starts the third period. What is the goalie at this point, Derek?
What is a goalie, guys? Detroit doesn't know what it is, apparently, because oh god. I mean, I think this is the best Reimer's played in a while, even though he only had one period.
Yeah, no kidding. And Mickey Redmond on the Christian Fischer versus Matthew Joseph fight, which took place in the third period, which is way too long after than it should have happened. This is long overdue. That's quoted by Mickey Redmond. Yes, that was long overdue. Would you guys agree with that?
That should have happened.
100%.
I understand there was confusion when it all happened, but man, that should have been taken care of long before, because that was just, like we all said, we all know it was an intentional punch to the face, whether you want it to or not, wanted to see it that way or not, but man, beginning of the third period, a period later, it should have been done at probably the shift after, if not the second period. And it was such a weak little fight. I wasn't even impressed with it. So, I mean, it happened at least. Something happened.
I guess I get why they didn't do it right after the next shift, because not only was Larkin out, you didn't have Perron because he had that 5 minute, and then you had Fabry going off because he needed the birdcage, so you really didn't know how many forwards you had left. You had 7 D-man. Did you really want to lose all 7? Probably not. And so you didn't have Klim Kostin either, who's usually the one who's been going up and fighting anyways. And so good on Christian Fischer for doing it. But yeah, it was a little too late, but I understand why. It is what it is, but it still was long overdue. And hopefully, if this trade rumor exists, then hopefully it's someone who can come in and actually rough out someone, because the defense certainly, I mean, going back to Claude Giroux goal, Jeff Petrie literally did not do anything to make it difficult for him to stand in front of that net and collect that power play goal. It is soft up in there in front of that net, and this defense just really needs to pick it up somehow, some way. Jake Sanderson scores with less than 4 minutes in the third period, making it 5-1 Sens. Overall, it was a boring third period. Wings lose. They had 8.5 forwards the rest of the game after the Larkin incident. Just flat out, really bad game in general for the Detroit Red Wings. Overall thoughts about the game, boys?
Honestly, we said everything we said about the San Jose game when we were there, so we know how bad it was. I think this performance was worse than San Jose. I mean, you just can't have this team, which, like, I mean, I get it. They're still at the bottom of the Atlantic. They're still irrelevant, and they always will be for the rest of their franchise history. But still, this is, like, one of your bigger rivals in the league right now. Whether or not we asked for that, it's kind of reached that point now. So I hate the fact that we just got manhandled by them for 60 minutes. That's a team that I really always want everyone to be firing on all cylinders to beat them, because it just means more when you play against them, which is crazy for me to even say, because they're so far out of relevancy and it's not even funny. But yeah, it really sucks. And it's like I said with Patrick Kane, like, this is how you welcome him to Hockey Town. Like, seriously. I get it. Like, he's older now. He's had the surgery. Like, he's still a guy that, like, I'm sure he had offers from other clubs, and he said no. I want to go over to Detroit because I think they have a really good chance to get into the playoffs and make some noise. You're not really proving that to him right now. You really aren't. So I've hated the effort they've given these past 2 games. This can't continue. This cannot be a continuing trend this season, which unfortunately it kind of seems like it is a trend this season. This needs to be fixed very soon. And I don't know how you do that, whether it's trading Berggren for some immediate help, calling up Edvinsson, seeing if you can do something to solve the goaltending. Something has to change. It really, really has to change. Like, we can't go on the season like this. We can't have performances like this. This team is simply too good. It's a very talented team. Like, we're a good team this year. We need to start proving it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
I mean-
no, you're right. Would you guys? Sorry, Derek. Yeah, I mean, JT Compher's been out the last 2 games too. I think that plays a huge role into it too, considering
Yeah, it does.
what he's done for this team, being on it this entire season. I mean, he's probably, I would say, he's the best contract that we signed in the offseason so far. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Outside of that, go ahead, Derek. I apologize.
I mean, I was going to state the fact that, yeah, what you guys just stated was basically the whole facts of the last 2 games, and the fact that we have some rebuilding that's not really rebuilding anymore, since we're a good team, but certain areas that need to get restructured very quickly, especially the fact that we are potentially a playoff team again. So something needs to happen really fast, and hopefully we see that here in the next week.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, right? And so Lalone last season, kind of going a little bit into the coaching, Matt, you touched on Tanguay, and yeah, I've been on that Tanguay train too, where I think Tanguay I think this is the season for him. Lalone last season was on a bit of a leash. I think Tanguay was too because of Lalone being new. There's no excuses anymore, right? And so we now have to see how Lalone faces under pressure. And the same thing with Tanguay. If Tanguay can't handle it, then I think that it would be time that you have to bring someone else in. Not even just for the special teams, but just overall the defensing and just letting these players know that it was good to see that they actually, I hate to say it like this, demoted Jake Walman. They made him basically the seventh defenseman the game against the Ottawa Senators. I probably wouldn't have done it that way, but he's sucked. He has sucked lately. Just plain and simple as that. Call it for what it is. And I'm glad to see that the coaching finally did something to showcase that, hey, we're not messing around. That, if you mess up, like, you're gonna get it, right? Like, you're gonna be bumped down. And I can see where there's frustration in some fans when that type of thing happens. Like, why are you doing that when he's one of our best defensemen? You have to do that sometimes. If you're not performing at your job, sometimes you have to be sat down and told, hey, just sit here for 5 minutes, do what you have to do during this time, work back up to how you're supposed to be, man up, do your job, outperform everyone else. Then you can go back to how you were, being a great defenseman paired up with Mo Seider instead of Shane Ghostbear being paired up with him. Because right now, Shane Ghostbear has been playing better than Jake Walman, in my personal opinion. And Seider hasn't even been playing as great either. And so, but we don't have anyone else to replace Seider with, unfortunately. That's just realistic truth. And it would be Ghostbear at that point. So there's not really much else that you can do here except call up Simon Edvinsson, right, boys? It comes all back to that.
The most obvious and easy decision to make at this point.
Yes. I don't know how much more I can go into blue in the face about
I
this.
really don't understand how, like, what do you want him to do? Do you want him to score 3 hat tricks in a row before you finally bring him up? I really genuinely don't know what else he has to do. I'm not even kidding. I don't know what else this guy has to do. If you don't have any plans to play him long-term in the NHL and he's just sitting down in the AHL, package him in a trade. Like, I'm so done with this. Like, we need him. We need him up here. It is so clearly on the defense and the goaltending for us losing. We did not lose that San Jose game because we didn't score enough goals. We scored 5, excuse my language, we scored 5 fucking goals, and we still lost in overtime. That cannot happen. It just can't happen in today's NHL. We just need a spark. We need him up here. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. I'm sure they'll play Monday, and he won't be up, and the next game he still won't be up, and I'll just continue to lose hair because it's the most frustrating thing ever.
I didn't know if Derek had one little last piece he wanted to say, but it sounds like he does not. So from here,
no,
we
go
can
on without me at this point because it's more just depressing to keep talking about the same thing we talk about every week. Because
Right.
obviously, I feel like we've discovered the weak points. We just got to fix them.
Yeah. And with that said, Derek, I think this is where we can close off right now. I think we've said a lot. We've said our pieces. There was a lot to uncover since the last episode that we recorded. So more negative than it needed to be, but I think we had a lot of positives, like Patrick Kane starting. A lot of players are actually popping off. The Red Wings are scoring. The Red Wings are still in a playoff spot, which is fantastic. There's just some tweaks and couple maybe like line jugglings that you have to improve. Just fix a couple of things, call up a couple of players, and I think this team really can make a playoff push still. We still are, based on Money Puck, 53.6% chance at making that playoff spot. So we are in a prime spot. The Red Wings are not in a bad position. We do have games on hand to some teams in that regard, and some teams have games on us. So hopefully we can get back to the third or second spot in the Atlantic Division and keep going from there. But let's go ahead and close it off, boys. We're well over time here, and so let's go ahead and do that. And final thoughts.
Man, let's go Red Wings, boys. Hopefully we get this little funk out of the way because obviously we are thriving as a team still. Ignore our negative energy a little bit this episode because obviously we are doing great still as a team. There's just a few little things that we got to get fixed up in there, and then we'll be the Red Wings of that 25-year stint in the playoffs again. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too. Final thoughts, Leslie?
My final thoughts are let's go Red Wings, and I have a little request for both Steve Yzerman and Derek Lalonde. Please, it's the holiday season. Please give me an early Christmas present and call up Simon Edvinsson. And while you're at it, give me a bonus present and sit Jeff Petrie for the remainder of his career. I don't care. I don't care that his father played for the Tigers. I really don't give a shit, to be honest. If that's the only reason he's on this team, it kind of seems like it is at this point. It's not about his play. So fire him into the sun, bring him Edvinsson, and I guess we'll stay posted to see what happens with Berggren. It'll be interesting.
All right. My final thoughts are I kind of at this point am agreeing with you too, Matt. I think that he pretty much is just on this team because his dad was a Detroit Tiger. I can't believe that's, even though he's got 7 points in 19 games, like I said, I mean, the way he defended that crease against Claude Giroux was just piss poor effort. And so my final thoughts are go Red Wings. Keep riding that hot hand, keep scoring, just play a little better defense, coaching. Lalonde, you guys got this. Steve Yzerman, if you have to trade Giannis and Berggren to get better defense, get another center because Larkin's out long term, if that's the case, if you have to get better goaltending, do whatever you got to do, I guess. Even if Berggren's the cost, I guess we can go get another Berggren out there. There's plenty of them in the league that can pass the puck and score the amount that he does. Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite me in the butt, but those are my final thoughts, and we're going to close off. So thank you everyone for joining us once again. If you are returning, if you are new, thanks for stopping by. We definitely do appreciate it. Make sure that no matter how you're watching us, listening to us, whatever you're doing, to subscribe, follow, thumbs up on the video, and to rate us 5 stars if it is on Spotify. And until then, we'll see y'all on the next one. Goodbye.
Adios.
Bye, y'all.